Hi, everybody. Alright, so around this time every year, it always seems like there's some kind of story where clowns or puppets or some kind of deity resembled very similarly are luring kids into woods in different places. And no matter how far back you look, whether it's the Native Americans, Native Africans, Australians, etc., there have always been legends of groups of beings or people who take on the allure of clowns, etc., that lure kids into woods in different places around the time of Halloween. And this has been around since any type of history exists, whether it's in the United States or in other places. This time, the story is coming out of South Carolina, and as you know, it's people, but the stories themselves around this time of the year, folks, have almost always come out right around this time. I was gonna say near the winter solstice, but right around the Old Hallow Eve. And so, what I want to show you here are the stories that I have. Two good sources: My Fox 8 and Channel 7 Action News. Folks, from My Fox 8, I apologize for the wait. Clowns spotted trying to lure kids into woods in South Carolina. And like I said, no matter what real part of the world you're looking into, these stories have existed since ancient times, whether it be a clown allure or something very similar to it. This coming out of Greensville, South Carolina. Greensville County Sheriff's Office deputies have increased patrols after several new clown sightings. WSPA reports first incident occurred August 21. Kids saw clowns in the woods attempting to lure them with green lasers and money, supposedly. Second incident on a Monday when a girl told the sheriff's office that basically people were taking pictures of people in the area, the kids, supposedly. And I guess from this one, they were dressed as clowns and they were in the woods or emerged from the woods. So there's that. Deputies are investigating the incidents and have been unable to find evidence to validate the claims, oddly enough. Like I said, folks, this kind of stuff has existed from ancient times. So the idea that these kids might actually be seeing spirits and stuff is not uncommon. I could tell you several sightings of things where I could have swore and told you that I saw a person when I did not. But I hope they do catch these people. But then again, you know, it is kind of the allure that this kind of weird stuff has been happening since ancient times all around the world. So I'm going to show you this right here. If I can. I don't even know if it'll let me. Let me try. Nope, I think because I'm recording I can't show it. So that's an unfortunate situation here. But basically it goes in, clowns are arguably the scariest kind of children's entertainer, which makes them even scarier. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on here, folks. And it makes them a larger, stranger danger. So the idea that all this is happening, sorry about that, around this time, probably every year in different areas, is a little bit more mythological based. It is a little bit more human based. And, you know, you got to watch out for the weird people. And you got to also look into the fact that these kind of weird things do happen about this time of the year. And you got to kind of base your situation off different things. I was told a story. I think I've told this story several times, and I'll make this a quick one. But my great-grandmother used to work with law enforcement. She was supposedly a psychic, which helped investigators. The time frame I was given was something like, I don't know, 1890s to 19, like 10s, 20s, 30s, etc. And this would have been like my great-great-grandmother, I believe. She was supposed to be an old Eastern European witch, the real deal, the real deal. And one time they had a very similar case to this. I forget the entire story since I've told it so many times. Most of the facts have actually gotten out of my head. And I have yet to be able to find the report. And now with FOIA and the police being, super secure on things, I'm certain most of it isn't on file. I couldn't even go back and find the original story if I wanted to. The story went like this. There was an old wooded area in, I forget where. And if you go back to ancient times, there's this house you call upon, which are basically run by demons. Let's just go with the story so I can get through it. And supposedly, whenever presidential people and persons in power wanted to get into political power, they wanted to call upon these spirits and these demons to help them do these various things. Well, the house would appear basically in a local wooded area, and it would kind of disappear from that area, and it would pop up almost randomly in different parts. There were certain things you had to do to bring this ancient house to the place you wanted it to be. And supposedly in the United States, ladies and gentlemen, this story supposedly happened. To what end, I don't know. But the house was supposed to be somewhere around some environment in the U.S. where law enforcement were working a case. They brought in my great-grandmother or my great-great-great-grandmother, however many greats are necessary for that. And she told them the tale. And of course they didn't believe her, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. And so there were a bunch of missing kids, lots of weird stuff going on. And sure enough, police had spotted a house that supposedly wasn't there the last time they were in the area, in the woods. They went through it, they broke the door down, nobody was there. It was as if nobody had ever been there. She had pulled a bunch of photos from different areas, supposedly, and I'll quickly speed this up. And from what I was told, and who knows if any of the information is even closely related to any of this, what happens is the politicians and the various people that basically want their wishes granted have to spend the night in this house. And they have to basically prove their loyalty to these demons. Sometimes they appear as, clowns. Sometimes they appear as any number of things. And I don't know if they were supposed to be, very bad demons, or if they were, wishy-washy, or what the situation was. But for a price, basically the idea is these beings would grant you your wish and make it happen. This goes back to the clockwork elves and many other things going on in the world behind the scenes that our government refuses to testify that is our reality. And anyway, so she was called in to basically get rid of this place because it was there on one occasion. They went back, it wasn't there. They went back again. And at one point or another, a couple of their officers got lost in the woods and they couldn't find them. So now basically the whole town was looking for a bunch of officers, some kids, and some weird stuff was going on. And now the house had disappeared. So supposedly or another, the story goes on that she was able to find the house. Where, I don't know. I don't know if they went out of state. I have no idea if they was just, if they went looking in the wrong area, etc. But supposedly, from what I've been told, she got all the ministers and priests and stuff in the area to follow her into the woods. And they basically found the house. They did the incantation to get it to leave. And then basically there was supposedly a controlled fire. Some of the officers were supposedly shot at by the guys that were supposedly held captive. I don't know the whole story. How much of it is absolutely true, I don't know. But basically, the house was burned down, and the incantation supposedly worked. They all got out of the woods. The people who were supposedly held captive, some of them were found, some of them were never found. And this is what I've been told. And it goes back to this kind of idea that, these spirits and things do exist in these areas, and they do come out around this time. And I do believe it was around this time that supposedly happened. And the reason supposedly the officers were taken was that they were actually supposedly very, very young. Now, I can't attest to whether or not that was true or anything else, because I myself, a descendant of the person who supposedly helped in this case, cannot find hide nor hair of this investigation. Well, there's a reason. One, nobody wants to put it on the books as such, and we don't know what kind of situation it was. And the people, obviously, that were around at the time who helped her, and she helped the law enforcement groups and stuff, obviously, they've been dead for a long time, almost 60, 70 years or so. So whoever took over that, is long dead, and the case is long off the books. So supposedly she stopped this house from appearing and everything else, and this all goes back to these demons and, things of this nature around these sightings, and how these ancient deities, no matter where you're at, would lure people into the woods for weird stuff. We've all heard of, Skull Man and Slender Man and Stick Man, and those go back to ancient Eastern European lures. Native Americans have theirs. I've heard of some in Scotland and in Wales. Any major place, you'll find these similar types of things, and every kind of time of year, you're always going to hear weird things like this happen. Now, are they people? Yes. Probably they are people messing around. But just some of the time, it is not people messing around. I'll give you one example of something that happened to me several times. Well, not several times, but I'll give you one example of something. I was in CVS one time. There was a very attractive female, and it looked like somebody I knew from somewhere else. Honestly, I thought it was her. I didn't say anything at first. We were down the same aisle looking. She didn't say anything, which I thought was weird, but she smiled. She didn't open her mouth, didn't do anything. She dropped something, bent down to pretty much shake her ass, and kind of, smiled, didn't say anything, which I thought was weird. And I wasn't hallucinating. This actually did happen. I know several people that have had similar things like this, and they always say, it's the spirits, trying to be playful and stuff, But here's the weird thing, ladies and gentlemen. She picked up the object in question, which is weird, because that usually never happens. And she proceeded to walk around the corner, and I was going to go talk to her and find out everything. And I walked around the corner, and there was nobody there, folks. Now, you can say schizophrenia all you want. You can say any number of things. But when I went and I asked the manager, I said, hey, look, there's a lady here. She was acting weird. Can can you go back on your monitors and find out, you know, who she is or what she was doing there, you know? And so he supposedly did, and I described her, you know, she was wearing, you know, black pants, I think a green top or something, had some kind of sports logo, like a Michigan State type thing or something like that. And he said, "Sir, I'm going to let you know." And he showed me the video, and he says, "There was nobody in that, you know, in that room in that aisle with you." And I said, "Then how the hell do you explain the, you know, the whatchamacallit, the item that was dropped?" And sure enough, the item fell off the shelf, but it looks like it was there, and then when I went back, it wasn't there. So, you know, weird. Absolutely weird. And then I went back again, and the item was laying on the ground. And the guy goes, "This is weird." He says, "You want to hear something weird? You should be here at about 1 a.m. to about 4 a.m. He says, "There's all kinds of weird stuff that happens here." He says, "I'm telling you, this stuff is not normal." He says, "Everybody thinks, you know, there's all this stuff that is the reality." He says, "After hours, there's all kinds of freaky stuff." He says, "We don't even bother to report half of it." I said, "Yeah, well, you know, my situation, there was a chick there. She smiled. She didn't say anything. And that was that." And I said, "She turned the corner," and he said, "Yeah," and she vanished, right? He said, I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, we have weird stuff like that all the time." And he said, "You want to see some weird stuff? Come by about 1 a.m. And I said, "If you invite me, I'll come." He never invited me, so I never went. So, lots of weird things happening with clowns and stuff around this time. Lots of weird things with ghosts and different things taking on the forms of people. Lots of things happen in the real world where you think you're looking at a person, and there ain't nobody there, folks. I'm convinced these are people messing around in South Carolina, but I'm also convinced that the other stuff does happen. Thank you.